My father's first words on entering Westminster Abbey yesterday were a pledge of service. It was a pledge to continue to serve, because for over 50 years, in every corner of the UK, across the Commonwealth, and around the world,
there is a particular kind of power that does not announce itself with speeches or ceremonies or front-page headlines. It moves quietly. It arrives through land registry documents and payroll decisions and the simple, undeniable fact of a name on a deed. And right now, in the spring of 2026, that kind of power is being exercised by a man who has been preparing for it his entire life. Prince William, the future King of England. A man who has watched, waited, and said almost nothing publicly, while doing a very great deal privately. The story we're going to tell you today is not the story the tabloids are telling. It is not about a single argument or a single estate, or a single moment of friction between a stepmother and a stepson. It is about something larger and more consequential than any of those things. It is about what happens to the British monarchy when the person at the center of it, King Charles III, or Seul, is mortal in ways that everyone can now see. And it is about the quiet, methodical way in which Prince William is securing his future, and in doing so, clarifying Camilla's. The question that royal observers are now asking in private, and that we are going to answer as thoroughly as the available evidence allows, is this. When Charles is gone, when the throne passes, when the dust of succession settles, does Queen Camilla have anywhere left that she can genuinely call her own? And is Prince William, right now, in the spring of 2026, making decisions that answer that question before it even officially needs to be asked? Stay with us, because this story is deeper, more layered, and more significant than anything you have read in a newspaper this week. Let us begin with what William has already done, because the most important thing to understand about him is that he does not make empty gestures. He does not send signals he does not mean. When Prince William acts, he acts with the full weight of someone who has spent 43 years understanding exactly what the monarchy is, exactly what it requires, and exactly what he owes it. In July 2024, People magazine, The Telegraph, Page 6, Fox News, Tatler, and the Hindustan Times all reported the same story. Prince William, having inherited the Duchy of Cornwall when Charles became king, had reviewed the payroll of that ancient estate. And one name was no longer on it. Annabel Elliot, Queen Camilla's younger sister, an interior designer who had worked on royal estate projects since 2005, who had shaped the aesthetic of duchy properties for nearly 2 decades, and who had been employed in that capacity through a connection that ran directly through Camilla's influence and Charles's backing. William did not fire Annabel Elliot with a dramatic announcement. He did not hold a press conference. He simply declined to rehire her. The Duchy of Cornwall records for the fiscal year 2023 to 2024 showed that she had not been paid for her services. That was it. One quiet entry in one set of financial records. And yet it reverberated through every royal watching circle in Britain and beyond. Because what William was communicating was not complicated. He was saying, the connections that mattered to the previous arrangement do not automatically transfer to mine. Loyalty to Camilla's family is not the same as loyalty to me. And I will be deciding, from this point forward, who has a seat at my table. People magazine's coverage noted that Annabel Elliot still works for King Charles and Queen Camilla on their private estates. She has not been erased, she has been repositioned, but repositioned in a way that makes the boundary absolutely clear. The Duchy of Cornwall is William's domain. What happens there is William's decision. And Camilla's family, whatever access they enjoyed through the previous arrangement, will need to earn their place in the new one. If you are watching this channel for the first time and you want to stay ahead of this story as it develops, please subscribe right now and turn on notifications. We cover the British royal family with depth, sourcing, and seriousness that this audience deserves. Do not miss what comes next. Subscribe now and let us continue. Now let us talk about the summer of 2025. Because there was a moment that summer that, according to multiple sources, crystallized something for Prince William in a way that no amount of abstract concern about royal protocol could have done on its own. King Charles III spent his annual summer holiday at Balmoral Castle in the Scottish Highlands. This is his private retreat the estate he inherited from his mother, the 50,000-acre property that sits outside the Crown estate and belongs to him personally. He arrived in August 2025, as the times in town and country both confirmed, for his annual Highland gathering. He was continuing his cancer treatment. He was carrying out his duties. He was, by every account, managing his illness with the same stoic determination that has characterized his entire reign. Camilla was not with him. She was, according to Radar Online, Yahoo Entertainment, and AOL, aboard a $40 million super yacht called the Zenobia, sailing in the Mediterranean. She was on a solo luxury vacation. She was not at Balmoral. She was not at her husband's side. She was on a billionaire's boat in the sunshine, while the king, fighting cancer, sat in the Scottish Highlands. Jang News reported in August 2025 that both Princess Anne and Prince William were upset by this. Geo News reported that Camilla had been accused of deliberately abandoning an ailing King Charles. Radar Online published an exclusive describing it as King Charles's sad last days, a framing that generated significant public reaction. The reports described Charles as feeling sad that Camilla had chosen not to be with him, and noted that people close to the king worried that his generous financial provisions for Camilla after his death might be creating a situation in which she felt so secure that she no longer felt the need to be present. Whether that characterization is entirely fair to Camilla is a question reasonable people can debate. Royal couples, like all couples, have their own private arrangements. The yacht trip may have been planned in advance. It may have been medically advised for reasons that were not publicly disclosed. But what matters for this story is not the objective reality of what Camilla's motivations were. What matters is what it communicated. To the public, to the palace, and most significantly to Prince William. William, by every account, from people who have studied his character and his values over many years, has a very clear idea of what duty means. He has watched his father carry the burden of the crown with remarkable resilience. He has watched his mother die in service of a role that ultimately consumed her. He has spent his own adult life subordinating his private preferences to the demands of public service in a way that has not always been easy or comfortable, but that he has embraced as necessary. The image of his father who is battling cancer, who is carrying the full weight of the monarchy at 77 years old, sitting alone in a remote Scottish castle while his wife sailed in the Mediterranean, was not an image William was able to set aside. Sources described William as furious, not in a way that generated public statements, not in a way that produced palace briefings. In the private, contained, deeply felt way that defines how William processes things that matter most to him. He filed it. He noted it. And he added it to the cumulative picture he has been forming of what Camilla's presence in his future monarchy will look like. Now let us talk about the Ray Milhouse situation, because this is the development that, combined with everything else, has pushed the question of Camilla's future security into genuinely complicated territory. In February 2026, Queen Camilla quietly transferred ownership of Ray Milhouse, her private Wiltshire retreat, the property she purchased in 1996, following her divorce from Andrew Parker Bowles, the place described by close friends and insiders over the years as her genuine home, the one place she felt she could simply be herself away from the pressures of royal life, to her children. Hello Magazine confirmed it on February 28, 2026. Royal Central confirmed it on March 4th. AOL, the Gazette and Herald, Jang News, and InStyle all covered the same story. The land registry documents showed that the new registered owners were Harry Lopes and financier Jake Irwin, representing Laura Lopes and Tom Parker Bowles, respectively. The property had been valued at approximately £850,000 when Camilla bought it in 1996, and has appreciated significantly since. The transfer was made without announcement. Buckingham Palace said nothing, and the silence from the palace was, in its own way, louder than any statement. Reddit's Royalty Tea forum picked up immediately on the most obvious interpretation. If Camilla is transferring her own private property to her children's representatives, and if she no longer has an independent private retreat to call her own, then her future security depends almost entirely on William's generosity. Because Balmoral, King Charles's private estate, the one he inherited from Queen Elizabeth, will not pass to Camilla. It will pass to William. And Sandringham, the other great private royal estate, follows the same logic. These are not crown properties. They are personal ones. And when Charles is gone, they belong to the next king. The standard royal tradition is that a dowager queen, which is the title Camilla would hold once William becomes king, can occupy a suitable royal residence for her widowhood. Royal expert Victoria Howard told Good Housekeeping and MSN in April 2026 that she expects Camilla to be styled as Dowager Queen Camilla during William's reign. Yahoo Entertainment confirmed in July 2025 that the formal title for the widow of a deceased king is Queen Dowager. Royal Central published a detailed analysis in July 2025 of the decisions King William V will need to make about Camilla's future title and status, noting that while tradition suggests a title, the specifics are at William's discretion. Clarence House has been Camilla's official residence since she married Charles in 2005. It will very likely remain a formal royal address for her. But Clarence House is a working royal residence, not a private home. The difference matters enormously to Camilla, who has always, by every account, preferred the intimacy and the independence of Ray Mill House to the formality of any palace. And Ray Mill House now belongs to her children. Meanwhile, King Charles, in what has been described by the news as a startling move, spent approximately $3.8 million purchasing a property called the Old Mill, which sits directly adjacent to Ray Mill House. InStyle confirmed this in March 2026. The proximity of the purchase to the Ray Mill transfer is, to put it gently, suggestive. Charles may be securing a foothold in that corner of Wiltshire precisely because his wife has reorganized her ownership of the most important property there. What does all of this mean for William's position? It means that every significant piece of private royal property is now in his orbit. Balmoral will be his. Sandringham will be his. The Duchy of Cornwall is already his. Forest Lodge in Windsor. Great Park, the 8-bedroom Georgian mansion that he and Catherine moved into in October 2025, described by People magazine, the BBC, Vanity Fair, Vogue, and Architectural Digest as their forever home, the place they intend to remain even when William becomes king, is already his. He is the future. He is, in the most practical and immediate sense, already the center of gravity, around which every other royal property question orbits. Please take a moment, if you have not already done so, to subscribe to this channel. We are in the middle of a story that is going to develop significantly over the coming months, and every major development will be covered here with the same depth and seriousness you are experiencing right now. Subscribe and make sure you are part of this community when the next chapter arrives. Let us now turn to the title question, because it is the dimension of this story that carries the most symbolic weight and that William will ultimately have the most personal control over. When King Charles dies, Camilla will become a Queen Dowager. That much is almost certain. The title is standard royal protocol for the widow of a king, and departing from it would require a deliberate and controversial act on William's part that most royal experts believe he is unlikely to take. He is not vindictive. He is not cruel. He is a man who separates the personal from the institutional, and who understands that publicly degrading his stepmother would embarrass the institution he is about to lead. That is not something William would do. But there is an important distinction between the title Queen Dowager and the title Queen Mother. Camilla cannot be Queen Mother. The title applies specifically to the widow of a king who is also the mother of the reigning king. Camilla is not William's mother. Diana was William's mother. And the memory of Diana, the way she died, the life she lived, the love her sons had for her, is present in every room of every conversation about Camilla's future in the monarchy. It is not spoken about publicly. It does not need to be. It is simply there. Royal biographer Christopher Anderson has noted that William only tolerates Camilla as his stepmother, and that she is, on some level, aware that her position in his monarchy will be different from her position in his father's. This awareness may be part of what is driving the financial decisions she has been making. The Ray Mill House transfer, the quiet reorganization of her private assets. These are the moves of someone who is not certain that the next arrangement will be as comfortable as the current one, and who is preparing accordingly. Richard Eden, who covers the royal family for the Daily Mail, captured the essential truth of Camilla's future status in a single sentence. As Dowager Queen, Camilla would be stepmother, not mother, to King William. Those 3 words, stepmother, not mother, contain everything. They explain why she cannot be Queen Mother. They explain why Annabelle Elliott was removed from the duchy payroll without ceremony. They explain why the yacht trip in August 2025 generated the kind of quiet fury in William that only matters that touch his father most deeply generate in him. And they explain why the Ray Mill house transfer, whatever its financial logic, reads in the context of everything else as the action of a woman who understands more clearly than she lets on publicly what is coming. Now let us look at the estate that sits at the very heart of this story. Balmoral. Because Balmoral is not simply the most beautiful and most private of the royal estates. It is, in this particular moment of royal history, the property that most clearly defines the difference between what Camilla has now and what she will have when William is king. Queen Victoria's husband, Prince Albert, purchased Balmoral in 1852, and it has remained the private property of the reigning monarch ever since. Unlike Buckingham Palace or Windsor Castle or Kensington Palace, which belong to the Crown Estate and cannot be privately disposed of, Balmoral is genuinely legally personal. Charles inherited it from his mother. William will inherit it from his father. And when William inherits it, he will decide who uses it, how it is managed, and who has access to which parts of its 50,000 acres. Hello? Magazine's January 2026 Royal Homes feature confirmed that Balmoral's grounds are open from January to August 2026, building on the interior tours that Charles introduced for the first time in 2024. This commercialization of Balmoral, modest and tasteful by any comparison to what a less careful king might do, has itself generated mixed feelings among traditional royal observers. But it is Charles's decision to make while he is king. When William becomes king, the decisions about Balmoral will be William's. And nothing in William's visible approach to the monarchy, his choice of Forest Lodge over any palace, his review of duchy payroll, his carefully managed modernization of the working royal family suggests that he intends to maintain unlimited informal access to the Highland estate for people whose connection to it runs through his stepmother rather than through the crown. What does all of this mean for the immediate question of Camilla's summer plan? And reports from inside palace circles suggest that the question of Camilla's continued access to the private wing arrangements at royal estates is being reviewed. The informal understandings that governed who could stay where during Charles's reign are not automatically guaranteed in William's. And Camilla, who transferred her private bolt hole to her children in February 2026, now finds herself in a position of depending more heavily on royal hospitality at precisely the moment when the person who will define the terms of that hospitality is someone who has already begun making his priorities very clear. The picture that emerges from all of this is not a simple one. William is not a villain in this story, and Camilla is not a victim. These are two people navigating an extraordinarily complex institutional transition under genuinely difficult personal circumstances. Charles's illness, the memory of Diana, the weight of a monarchy that must be modern enough to survive but traditional enough to mean something. Neither of them has an easy position. Neither of them has made only perfect decisions. They are human beings in an inhuman situation, doing their best. But the balance of power in that situation has shifted. It has shifted because Charles's health has made the succession more present and more personal than it has ever been before. It has shifted because William's decisions, the duchy payroll, the Forest Lodge move, the quiet hardening of the lines around what is his, have been consistent and coherent in a way that communicates something real about his intentions. And it has shifted because Camilla's own decisions, the yacht trip, the Ray Mill house transfer, the quiet reorganization of her assets, have communicated something equally real about her awareness of what is coming. The British monarchy has survived abdications, wars, divorces, and scandals. It has survived because, at the moments when it mattered most, someone with clear eyes and clear values stepped forward and made the institution more important than their own comfort. William is attempting to be that person. The decisions he is making now and in the spring of 2026 are the decisions that will define the shape of the monarchy for the next 50 years. Camilla's summer arrangements are, in one sense, a small detail in that very large story. But they are the kind of small detail that, when you look at it carefully, tells you everything about the direction things are moving. When William says, quietly and through action rather than words, that the estate is his now, he is not making a personal attack. He is making a constitutional statement. He is clarifying what the next era of the British monarchy will look like. And in that clarity, Camilla's future is being defined not by what Charles gave her, but by what William chooses to continue. Before we close, we want to hear from you. Do you believe William is handling this situation correctly? Is he being fair to Camilla? Or does his approach feel too calculated? And what do you think her title should be when William becomes king? Should she be Queen Dowager or something else entirely? Leave your thoughts in the comments section below. This community takes these questions seriously, and every perspective adds something to our understanding. If you have stayed with us through this entire story and you are not yet subscribed, please do it now. Share this video with someone who follows the royal family and who you think would appreciate a story told with the depth it deserves. The next chapter of this story is already being written, and we will be here to cover it. We will see you in the next one.